The cars are on the grid. The grandstands have filled up. Tremendous amount of support here this weekend at Sentul as we prepare for the first race of the day, the sprint race. Salvador Duran for Mexico. He's starting from a competitive fourth place. Support for the French, but of course the majority of support for this man on the right, Ananda Mikkola, driving for Team Indonesia. This is how the grid lines up then. New Zealand and Great Britain on the front row together. Then it's Germany and Mexico. On row 3, the United States and Australia. Row 4 for France. They've got some work to do from there. South Africa alongside. Then it's Canada and the Netherlands on row number 5. Switzerland well down in 11th place with new boy China in 12th position. On the 7th row, Malaysia and the Czech Republic. On row 8, Italy and India. Good effort from Ahmed Ibrahim. Indonesia starts 17th, just ahead of new boy for Ireland, Richard Lyons. Brazil is only 19th. Lebanon starts in 20th place. And bringing up the rear is Team Pakistan. That's how the 21 cars then are due to start this sprint race. They're lining up side by side out of the final corner here at Sentul, and we're preparing for the start around this 2.4-mile track. It's the 5th event of the season, the 2nd season of A1GP, and it's New Zealand that will start from pole position. New Zealand get going in the Black Beauty down the inside. Here comes Mexico. Germany squeezing through the middle as well. It's going to be very tight as we get into the first corner. New Zealand turning ahead. Was there a touch between Germany and Great Britain? Mexico into second place, and also going, that's USA. USA have made a great start as well.
Nico Hülkenberg got squeezed out. He was in position, but he got squeezed out coming into turn 1. Now Johnny Reid a clear lead, 3-2 abreast. Robbie Kerr alongside USA. USA gets the corner. GB has to concede. Germany now behind Robbie Kerr. Watch for the pass coming up. Watch for, well, we hope we're going to see some power boost being used already in the early lap of this 15-lap sprint race.
Great start by Philipp Giebler of the United States. He's got up into third. Great Britain and Germany dicing here for position as they come up to turns 6 and 7. The first and slower of the chicanes. Italy going around the outside of Brazil. Side by side, still in the background, but New Zealand have got away, and that's what Johnny Reid wanted to do. And now Germany still attacking Great Britain.
Yes, Robbie Kerr did not get a good start. He lost the advantage of being in the front row of the grid. He's now got pressure on board with Germany. But Nico Hülkenberg has got to do, if he wants to get a position, is get right under the rear wing of Team GBR coming through this two-part turn 10, and then in turn 11 that leads onto the straight. Further behind, Switzerland and South Africa.
South Africa, yep, Switzerland coming around. They're running in 9th and 10th places at the moment. Let's see if anyone gets the draft here. They might be using their power boost buttons to give them an extra 30 horsepower. Across the line they go. New Zealand lead for the first time across the line officially this season. They've led in the past, but it's the first time this season that they've led. Still Germany applying the pressure to Great Britain.
And Germany clearly capable of running quicker at this point than Team GBR, as Robbie Kerr looking in the mirrors. What's down the inside? It is too risky at that distance behind GBR to make a punt down the inside. The track offline is slippery down to turn 3.
New Zealand lead. Mexico in a fine second place. Great start from Salvador Duran, and a great start for Phil Giebler of USA. It was Great Britain who started second, who dropped down to 4th place, and Germany who started 3rd, who dropped down to 5th. These two are battling for it. Behind them, Australia. And look at this, Canada versus South Africa.
Yeah, that was a very blatant block from Sean McIntosh and Ellen van der Merwe. He moved right across the front of the car, almost had South Africa on the grass. So Sean McIntosh needs not to be seen to be doing more of that.
France is running in 7th place at the moment, just ahead of that battle between Canada and South Africa. Switzerland in 10th, Malaysia 11th, then it's the Netherlands, Italy, Brazil, China, and then Indonesia.
So watch again this battle for 4th place, GBR in 4th, Germany in 5th. On board with Germany, young Nico Hülkenberg, the driver who's really been the star all the find of the season, but he's not able to take advantage of his exit speed. Team GBR have got good exit speed. They can maintain that advantage all the way down. We're seeing GBR using power boost, but that's now down to turn 1.
All the power boosts already used up by Team Germany, so he's going to have to find another way of getting past GBR if he's to take that 4th place. Behind them we've got Canada versus South Africa, and then also, oh, here we go again. This is USA being passed by Great Britain.
Well, Robbie Kerr got a big run down into turn 3 somewhere, whether that was a mistake from Team USA or not, but now Robbie Kerr's got that break. He's released himself from the pressure, and you can see the speed of USA nowhere near that of GB or of Germany. Again, Giebler trying to block, but Germany's down the inside. He'll try and go around with him and try and put himself in position for the switchback. He's maintained it, and that's disadvantaged Germany.
Yeah, that'll cost them all time, and they've got to watch out because Australia's joining into that battle as well. Just behind Germany now is Australia. Australia's alongside Germany. Ryan Briscoe takes Hulkenberg. Great move, Ray. Capitalising on them, slowing each other down, and Australia gets ahead of Germany.
And that was the cause, trying to go down the inside of a competitor car, fighting for position. Now it's France all over the back of Germany, and Nico Hulkenberg, racing experience. He's not as experienced as Ryan Briscoe, for example, and he's been outmanoeuvred, particularly by USA and now by Ryan Briscoe for Australia.
So it's New Zealand in the lead of this race. Still some way to go in the sprint race. Mexico second, Great Britain now up to third. USA have dropped to fourth place. Australia's come up to fifth. And behind them we've still got France in seventh place, then Canada, South Africa, Switzerland. This is looking further back down the order. Ireland still stuck in 18th position.
Yeah, they're struggling. They've actually lost position. They started 18th, they're now down to 19th, and they're in a battle with India.
So, not going well for Team Ireland at the moment. Team Netherlands, you can see all over the back of Malaysia as they came through that time. They're racing for 11th place, Lebanon there, and then Pakistan bringing up the rear, back on board with Team Germany, and Hulkenberg is frustrated. He's losing out. Here comes the Netherlands. Oh, not able to get alongside Alex Young, but he goes around the outside instead.
No chance.
They touch.
Well, they're literally banging and crashing. Look into these slides up the inside. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Two drivers, they should have known when to concede, when not to concede. And of course, they just opened the door, and Enrico Toccartelli says, "Ciao, Bella, ciao."
Yeah, he's out of there. Italy has taken advantage, and Indonesia, I think, past the Netherlands. So Ananda Mikkela's gained that place. There could be damage on the Netherlands car. He was unable to defend, and the flag waving goes crazy in the stands as they see their man gain one.
In between times, Mexico in second place. Quickest race now it's gone to Team GBR, Robbie.
Moving ahead of the Netherlands, but it was that battle between the Netherlands and Malaysia that gave him the opportunity. Malaysia's dropped to 12th position. They're still in there, though. Up front, it's all about New Zealand. New Zealand are easing away just a little bit. 1.1 seconds their advantage over Mexico, and then the gap back to Great Britain. USA in fourth, Australia in fifth.
Well, the lap record last year stood to Team Ireland, 1 minute 19.029. That has been shattered by Team Great Britain, 1:18.110.
Yep, a rapid pace indeed from Team GBR. That's a good effort. Look at this. Netherlands trying to get their place back from Indonesia. This is the race going on for 13th.
And that's a difficult place to do the pass because you're coming through the curve in turn 5 and you're almost immediately into the slower of the two S's on the back of the circuit. Turn 6 and 7, Ananda Mikkela now running behind sister nation Malaysia. And there's a little battle that's for 13th and 12th place. But of course, Italy up and running. They got the gift and they went forward there. It is the blue car of Italy pulling away from Malaysia, Indonesia, the Netherlands and China.
That's right. So Italy took advantage. They've now got to go chasing after Switzerland. Switzerland hasn't been able to make much progress from its qualifying effort. They're down in 10th place currently. There is your race leader. It's Johnny Reid for New Zealand. He's driving beautifully here at the moment. Let's take a look at the start again.
And watch what happens. 4 cars abreast coming in. Suddenly, Germany gets squeezed. Robbie Kerr has lost position. It's the USA and Mexico who are the big winners at the start. Here, what's happened? I mean, rightly, Germany got out of it because that would have been a collision between 3 cars.
And then this is what went on between Malaysia and the Netherlands a moment ago.
I think there was contact with the right front and the left side of Mexico. There again, contact. I mean, that car, the right-hand side of that Netherlands car is going to be absolutely smeared with tar.
Mexico's doing well, staying with New Zealand. And look how Great Britain's that little bit closer again. The top 3 very much together. And in the background, you can see that the USA slightly alone, but then it's Australia under pressure from Team Germany. Germany, who's lost more than anyone else in this race so far. They started 3rd. And they're down in 6th place. You're riding with German driver Nico Hulkenberg. The Germans were leading the points coming into this one, remember?
Well, the team will be on the radio to Nico Hulkenberg saying, calm down, just take it easy. There are 10 laps to go, it'll be 9 when they come across start-finish line. You know, you've got the pace, we know you've got the pace. Don't lose your head, drive with it.
Team USA on the power boost button, interestingly enough, although they're a little way ahead of these two guys, just trying to keep backed out of that first corner, though. It was sensible, as you say, John.
Absolutely, because his car on his right, car on his left, it was a concertina effect, and he just got out of it. He did the right thing. In fact, Robbie Kerr also was caught in that situation because he had to move momentarily to the left, and that's what prompted Nico Hulkenberg to use his head and not his foot.
Again, they're very much together as they head down towards the chicane, turns 6 and 7. Hulkenberg trying to just keep it all together, doesn't want to make a mistake, and throw away a pretty good starting position. It would still put him on the third row for the feature race when the major points are on offer as he tries to defend his points gap. He's liable to lose some 3 points to Great Britain, but he would still be seeing Germany in front in the points going into the feature race here. Let's look back at a moment ago. This was Brazil running wide.
Yes, Brazil just getting it wrong, and took a Russia. That was down at turn 3. That's the part of the racetrack where you're going to see probably the most action all weekend. In the meantime, New Zealand leading. It's been between 1.2, 1.3 seconds. It varies just depending on the pace of Mexico behind. But Johnny Reid out front doing the job that he thought he was going to be able to do in Brno. And now clear racetrack, just running at his own pace. No real pressure, but he can't blink because Mexico will be all over him.
Indonesia's gained up some 4 places from where they started from. Indonesia running in 13th position. That's a great effort from Ananda Mikula, who's taken advantage of other people having 1 or 2 problems. And you can see there is the white and red car behind Malaysia. So keeping a close eye on his neighbouring nation and maybe with an opportunity to get past. Just looking from our commentary box window, by the way, sounds to me as though 1 or 2 of the cars are on the rev limiter coming down the straight. It may be that wind conditions, the wind is in a different direction today, and I think a few of them are on the rev limiter heading down the main straight.
Yes, the wind has changed. It's the first time it's been blowing more or less directly down the straight, and of course when you're running close proximity to another car you pick up that aerodynamic slipstream, which also will give you another 2, maybe 300 RPM. And of course these engines are restricted to 9,250. Only when you use power boost can you go up the RPM rev range, but everybody has more or less at the front, with the exception of New Zealand, run out, and it's only GBR who are now on the power boost button. They're some 2 seconds behind Mexico. Why? He might be using it just to do it on the straight, when really it's not going to make a huge amount of difference. It's the benefit of power boost is in an overtaking situation.
Through turns 1 and 2, again Germany not close enough to challenge there. Bit of debris on the road. Malaysia currently holding on to 12th, Indonesia 13th, the Netherlands chasing behind, then China with new boy Ho Pin Tung. That little bit of plastic actually picked up by the Czech car on the front push rod, but I don't think that'll do any harm.
No, it's not a problem, but it is a factor of circuits around the world that debris does get onto it, and plastic bags, well, there it is. But Brazil under pressure from the Czech Republic. Can he do something down into turn 3? No way at this particular point.
Reminder that it's Jaroslav Yanis driving for the Czech Republic here this weekend. Very fast on the Friday. Lost a bit of pace in qualifying, and at the moment he's in 17th position, putting Brazil under pressure. He can't get much closer without challenging. He goes to the try and take the inside line. Sure, he's going to try and outbrake, but he doesn't quite do it. They're side by side.
But Brazil ran deep, ran wide. Ireland right behind Richard Lyons in the Team Ireland entry is running quicker than these 2 cars. Essentially they're holding one another up, but Richard Lyons for Ireland is capable of running maybe up to a second a lap quicker than these 2 cars, who are currently battling for 16th position.
And in a way Richard Lyons might be able to pick up at the edge here.
Yes, he's got the opportunity. Is he close enough to pick up the slipstream? He needs to make the pass if he can. Oh, he's not. There's no way. There's 20 metres or 20 or so yards between the cars as they come down into turn 1. And that's the inevitability of getting off the corner. Sooner you get the advantage on the straight. But Czech Republic, they're going to have a look down the inside, I think, into turn 3 this time. Jaroslav Yanis clearly unhappy about running behind Brazil. Clearly he believes he can run more quickly.
Yeah, getting close again. He's very fast through turn 1, even though he's following another car closely. So that's a very impressive sign from Jaroslav Yanis, but it's all very well to be quick. You've then got to take advantage and get alongside. Can he do it again? He closes up on acceleration out of turn 4. They go through the kink at 5. They're coming up to the tight chicane. Can he get alongside here this time? No. Again, not close enough. Again, Ireland is the one who might take advantage.
Yes, but they have to be very, very careful. Ireland, look how much quicker Ireland is in the middle of turn 7. So they've clearly done something to this car for the first time this weekend to give Richard Lyons a car that he can use. He's got speed. We know that he's a champion in Japan, but they've been really chasing the car, and maybe overnight they've come up with something that is beginning to work for Richard Lyons.
Tuka Rocha driving for Brazil. It's Jaroslav Yanis for the Czech Republic, and as you say, Richard Lyons for Team Ireland. A slight look up for the Czech car there. He's desperate to get as close as possible in this corner, but loses a bit of front downforce on the way through, and of course that drops him back a touch. Now, watch him down the straight and into the first corner. This is where he's quick, but he's not close enough to challenge.
The Czech Republic got 3 more shots on the power boost, but not able to get close enough to take full advantage of it into turn turn one, Jaroslav Janis in the Czech Republic car. He does close down in turn one to Brazil car, but then once again they'll go through two. The gap goes back to the status quo it was before they went into turn one.
Almost makes me wonder if he's forgotten about power boost. It's the first race he's done in an A1GP car, and he hasn't been using it at one position.
Good job from Jerome Blekemolen. He got alongside, he did what he had to do. Nando Mikela wasn't in position, but he wants to get back. He didn't like that at all. The pride of Indonesia in the hands of, they say, Nando Mikela, and the crowd have gone very silent in front of the main grandstands.
Yeah, no flag waving now because they've seen their man lose a position, but nonetheless he's still better off than he was when he started the race. He's now in 14th place.
In the meantime, race leader Team New Zealand, Johnny Reid, is just gradually by 1/10 of a second a lap increasing his advantage. It's now up to 1.7 seconds over Mexico in second place. Team GBR 1.9 seconds behind Mexico in third, but a long way behind that is Team USA. They're 3.5 seconds in fourth place behind Team GBR.
Look at New Zealand's control, means they haven't used 3 of their power boosts. He's got so much pace here. He's able to just stick in front, and there he is, leading the race quite comfortably from Mexico, and he still has 3 power... Oh, China spun!
And that's coming out of turn 2. That's a quick part of the racetrack to spin a car. He managed just to run the car wide over the curb, got on the grass, and he's looped it, but he's safe. He hasn't hit anything.
He was running in 15th place, lost all those positions. Has he got the car still running? Let's see what happened here.
Yes, he did. Well, there it is. He ran way, way wide. And I mean, a wild ride for China. And that was a lucky spin, because you'd expect the car to spear sharp left. And there's a big concrete wall just to the right of the picture, but he gets it under control. But that will mean the car's going to be beached there. Certainly we'll probably see waved yellow flags. Down at that part of racetrack, there's a static flag. Well, go on, lads, wave it. It needs to be waved, in fact, in the entry into turn 2 to warn the field that is coming, and the lead cars are not going to turn up and bear down onto that part of racetrack.
Yes, indeed, and Germany still coming through, trying to put the pressure on Australia, coming past the stricken China car, but it's, as you say, it's just offline really there, so they should be okay, as long as no one's getting alongside another car into that area. France coming through. France not able to make much progress in this race. They're 7th, Canada 8th, South Africa 9th, Switzerland also unable to make progress in 10th position there. Italy has made progress. They started 15th, they're up to 11th. And then in 12th place it's Malaysia. Netherlands now in 13th place, ahead of Indonesia 14th. And then behind them it's the Netherlands, etc. So we're going to keep an eye on the time left to go in this race as well. 3 minutes left. They may not get the full 3 laps in.
No, it's just 3 minutes, and I mean, we're just counting down the last few seconds, and it's going to be a very close call. The lap is approximately at this point in the race at 1 minute 19, 1 minute 20. So it might be that this race goes only 14 laps before the checkered flag comes out. So it's a touch quick. I mean, the race pace compared to 10 months ago is quite a lot quicker. Nevertheless, it's going to be a close call to get those 15 race laps in. Looking back from the Brazilian car, again, this 3-way tussle that's going on for 15th. Well, we're just looking at the lead. Johnny Reid, Mexico, that lead has now gone from 1.9 seconds down to just over a second. Now, that may have been because Reid was the first racing car on the lead lap to come by and find the China car in the middle of the racetrack. He may have backed off to do it because of the wave yellow flags, and maybe Mexico didn't. Anyway, the lead is down to just a second, showing 2 laps to go, and we've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. So they might just get it in. We'll see which comes first. Brazil still fending off the Czech Republic here down towards turn 1. Surely not going to take a big gamble at this point. It would be a mistake perhaps to take a big risk and end up at the very back of the field. So there is the gap. It has closed down. It's visual. It's not just on the timing and scoring. Johnny Reid is being challenged by Team Mexico. The last lap was to the advantage of Mexico. They picked up about 0.4, 0.5 of a second. And Johnny Reid coming into the final 2 laps is under pressure from Mexico. 1:18.8, the fastest race lap now. 1:18.1 still for Great Britain, 1:18.8 at this segment of the race to Mexico, 1:19.3 to New Zealand. So coming across the line, this will be to go on to their final lap, and Salvador Duran keeps the pressure on, but he's nowhere near close enough, and New Zealand on the power boost, making full advantage of that, heading for their first ever victory in A1GP. Johnny Reid's driving superbly here. USA currently running in 4th, Australia 5th, Germany in 6th. The final point scoring place, France 7th, Canada 8th. And the leaders coming past that stricken Chinese car that's now being pushed out of the way. So race leader Johnny Reid for the last time into turn 4. And he's got behind, it's now down to 0.8 of a second. There is a lot of pressure, no doubt. That's the reason Johnny Reid has used the power boost button, just to give him that little bit of extra horsepower. 520 in normal conditions, up to 550 under power boost.
So he's only got half a lap to do, but look at this, a bit of pressure for USA from Australia. Australia down the inside, but he can't quite hold it, and USA trying to go back past. Oh, they nearly hit.
And I mean, you thought Phil Giebler said, well, there's the place, take it. But Phil Giebler thought about it, he saw what was happening, he didn't put any pressure on USA. He allowed the USA to create their own pressure. Now we're seeing Australia being overtaken by Germany. Can they make it? Oh, he hit the right rear, left front. But Nilke Hulkenberg was on the inside. As we've seen in previous events, he does what he has to do.
New Zealand come through to take their first ever win in A1GP. A superb drive by Johnny Reid. Mexico a fine second place for them, and Great Britain settles for third position. Fourth place is going to go, I think, to USA. He does take fourth. Germany grabbing fifth on the last lap there, and Australia, who tried to ended up in sixth position, but at least Briscoe was going for it. Seventh place goes to France, followed by Canada, South Africa and Switzerland. But it's a fantastic result for Johnny Reid and for A1 Team New Zealand, their first victory in GP.
Welcome back to the Central International Circuit in Indonesia for the fifth round of A1GP. I'm afraid that we weren't able to show you the final conclusion of that sprint race, but here is how it did end in the end. New Zealand finishing on top spot, having achieved pole to begin with. Mexico in second, Great Britain in third, the USA in fourth, Germany in fifth, Australia in sixth, the defending champions France in seventh spot.
Congratulations, your first A1GP victory. How do you feel?
Just ecstatic. It's an emotional feeling. We've been working hard at it ever since the Silverstone test. The guys have done a fantastic job to come back from 16th in practice to take pole and win this first sprint race.